Helpful. Well, welcome to another Porchlight Podcast episode. This is episode 5 of our podcast, and I'm joined here with Loren Schweiger. And we are excited to have you today, Loren, because we're going to be talking a little bit about who you are, the work you've been doing with Americorp, as well as we're going to be hearing about what God's doing in your life beyond your time here in Sydney. Her time here in Sydney is just 1 year, and so I'm really excited for you to share about that and what God's been doing. As a reminder, this Porchlight Podcast, we want to engage people, you, in a conversation with the hopes that you'd learn something that you can live out on a daily basis. And so we're going to be talking about kids and families, stronger community, fantastic subject. And so to kick things off, Loren, if you would, just share a little bit about who you are and why you're here today.
Well, thanks for this opportunity, Harry. My name is Loren Schweiger, as he mentioned. I'm a Communities in Action Americorp member. I currently serve at the Richland County Health Department, and one of my main focuses this past year has been on early childhood and family engagement.
Sweet. With your time in Americorp, like I said, it's just a 1-year engagement. Like, what's the heart behind Americorp in general? Like, why did you jump into Americorp versus a whole host of other internships and opportunities I'm sure you could have gone after?
Yeah, so whenever I was finishing up college, I wanted to do something that wasn't the traditional path of going to grad school or getting a job. And so I looked into some service opportunities, and Americorp came up, and I thought it sounded like a wonderful thing to give back to communities, to take the education that I've had and just use that for good. And the real purpose of Americorp is bridging gaps in communities. Yeah. So where there's a need to help facilitate some growth and be able to really encourage a community to solve their own problems. It's not us solving the problems for them. And I have been blessed with the opportunity and to serve, and also a heart for service. That is where I feel very passionate about, is serving others. So. Right
on. Yeah. So you wanted to get some boots on the ground experience.
Yeah.
Not sit in the classroom the whole time, but want to go get some life experience. And yeah, that's way cool. So what you're saying though is like your Americorp is like boots on the ground, helping stimulate change, growth, things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely, there's different areas of focus within the Americorp programs, but the whole point of it is to give back and serve communities and provide a service that is needed but maybe can't be afforded in that area, or just they don't know specifically what they want done. And so then sometimes Americorps are helping with like the grassroots of building up programs grants. So
sweet. Well, if you could, one of the things I've enjoyed is that you've been coming here to Faith Alliance Church, and we've gotten a chance to know you more.
Yeah.
Not just know of you, but get to know you. And we are partnering with you in some ways of what's going on in the future, what God's going to be doing. But if you could just share with me and the rest of us just kind of how did you come to faith in Christ? What did that journey look like? Because you are somebody that I see a strong faith, someone who deeply wants to know their Savior, deeply wants to know their purpose on this earth, not just walk through life as a zombie, but like really know what is God's will for me, and then capture that and run with it. And so, I'd love to hear that.
So I grew up going to church with my grandma, and she is a devout Catholic, and so I went to Catholic church all throughout my childhood. I ended up going to a Catholic university, St. Francis University, in a small town called Loretto, PA. And actually there, I was more introduced into some non-denominational Christian, a group called Crew, and I really like that. I really like that group. I met some really wonderful friends in college, and
Campus Crusades, right? Yeah.
And actually in college was when I was gifted my first study Bible by 3 of my college friends, which was by far one of the best gifts I've ever been given. And ever since then, I've, been in it, marking things up, pulling things out of there. And so that's been really neat. And I've just really grown to appreciate a relationship with Christ, not just the traditions of just going to services and doing, X, Y, Z to get to ABC, And so for me, this past year has been a really awesome opportunity to focus more on my faith as well, with coming to church here, and also some other opportunities within the community. I got to go to Come Christo, which is they have a women's and a men's one, but it is a weekend focused on God and your relationship with God. And it was really a wonderful opportunity. And I've been blessed with so many brothers and sisters in Christ here that have helped me really want to continue to build that relationship with God and give more of myself to him and give what I can to others for him. And so I just think that I have always, I've had faith, but I wouldn't say I always had a relationship with God. And that's something that I'm continuously working on and striving towards. And I really am, I have been very lucky that God has placed various people in my life, especially within this past year.
Right on. Well, thank you for sharing that, Loren. It's so cool to hear God working. We are, super privileged to have been a part of your story. And as we talk about that, we talked a little bit about Americorp and why you chose that, but what are the future plans after Americorp? I've kind of hinted at this, but what's God doing from, I think you said August 28th is your last day?
Yeah, that's my last day.
And so then, what's going on after that?
So I've always been very passionate about helping babies and young children, and they're a very vulnerable population. And then I've also been interested in OB, and so I came here focusing on family engagement and early childhood, and it's been a good experience, a lot of behind-the-scenes grant work, and I have decided that I wanted to do something more hands-on next, and I've prayed about it a lot. I've had a lot of people praying. They have prayed for me and continue to pray for me, and I also continue to pray for it. And an opportunity has arisen to go to Haiti and serve at an orphanage and do some work at a malnutrition and maternity clinic. So I am very blessed that that is where I'm being led. I feel very fulfilled when I can help other people, and I am very passionate about healthcare, especially, like I said, for infants and mothers, and I am very excited for the opportunity.
Way cool. So if you don't mind, could you share us just what are the steps you're going to have to take to make that a reality?
So I have started I've been doing fundraising for a little bit now, and I've been doing some odd jobs to raise some money, and I sold some t-shirts, and I will continue to be trying to raise some support, both financially and also through prayer. I think prayer is equally, if not even more important than the financial contribution. So I'm very thankful for any way that people can contribute. With COVID, it kind of makes things a little bit interesting. And so my initial hopes were to head out in October, and it looks like it's going to be more of January for me to go, and that is purely with complications of the coronavirus, not because there's not still a need there, and not because I don't want to go there, because I desperately do. And I know that I just keep having faith that God has a plan, and it's not on my timeline, it's on his timeline, and I'm still very passionate about going, and I know that there's some reason why I'm going to be going at that time and not the initial plan. And so I just feel very, very grateful for the year I've had, because within this last year of Americorp, I've really had to adapt to a lot of changes, moving 1,800 miles from home to a place where I knew no one, and having funding given and then taken away, and doing different projects, different supervisors, different people. And there's just been a lot of changes, and I feel like I've really grown through those changes, and that's not what I expected to kind of learn from this year. I thought I was going to be giving so much of myself to others, and I've tried to do that, and I hope that I have given a lot to this community, but I truly feel like this community and this experience has given me more than I could ever repay. So I feel very honored to have been able to do what I do, and I know that because of what I've experienced, I feel, and because of God's grace and just gift to me, I don't feel so like past Loren, a year ago Loren would be freaking out that my timeline isn't going the way I want it to be.
Yeah.
And while I'm sad about it, I'm not freaking out. Like I do feel like it's all within God's timing, and he knows better than I do. And thankfully, thank God for that, because I know I don't know everything. And I definitely think that this year has contributed to being able to grow and just accept things as they come, and so
roll with the punches a little bit.
Yeah,
that's life, man. It will definitely punch you in the mouth sometimes. But I think one of the things that I appreciate about you is your willingness to kind of step out, and just the fact that you came out here and did Americorp for a year in a random community, right? You had no ties to Sydney.
Right.
You had never been to Sydney before.
No.
You didn't know anyone here.
No.
Just kind of had to dive in.
Yeah.
And to see kind of where you started, and like first time at the church, you're hesitant. You're like, I have no idea who anyone is.
Yeah.
No clue what I'm doing. To where you are now, and the friendships that you've made. It's really cool. And so that kind of ties into my next question for you is, what has your time here with Americorp in Sydney really taught you that you want to take with you as you go? What are you going to carry with you?
I think there's a lot that I'm going to carry with me, and I think that part of my heart will stay here in Eastern Montana. It
has a way of doing that, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people come to Eastern Montana and they're like, meh. And then it works its way in,
Yeah, I remember when I first got here, and it was so hard, and I wanted to go home because I missed everyone and everything back home, and it was definitely a completely different place than where I am now, and now I'm like, oh my gosh, do I really want to leave here? Like, where do I want to go? Like, where is home? Like, it's very confusing, but it's a good thing. It's a good thing. I really am passionate about being involved wherever I am and with whoever I can. And so I think that was a large part of how I became so in love with this community, is that I just kind of dove in and just took on some different things. And the church was a big part of that. And that's where some of my good friendships came from, was the church. And getting to know people and seeing that people want the best for you without wanting anything from you has been a really nice thing to be able to learn and carry on with me. Like, people do care, and not that I thought that people didn't care, but I've really been shown that there's people who just do care for the sake of caring. And as I mentioned before, being able to deal with change and roll with the punches has been a huge part of this year, and continued passion for serving children, and that has just been such a big part of my life. Like, I can remember volunteering from a young age, even as technically a child myself, working with children. And so that definitely is still in me, that's what I want to do. I definitely think, though, that I want to have a more hands-on position. And that is what I kind of have learned from this, is that I think that the behind-the-scenes work is really tremendous, and it's needed and great. I just personally am someone who really feels called to be with people, and that has possibly been one of the bigger realizations that I've experienced. So
right on. That's way cool. So we're gonna finally kind of get to the heart of what we want to talk about, what I want to talk about as well, which is your passion and that shared passion of mine as well, of kids and families, parents and youth, the family as a whole, and seeing seeing our community be strong. And I love your premise. It's just that simple statement: stronger families, stronger community, and how clear and concise that is, right? We try to make it really complicated, I feel like sometimes. And the simple truth of it is, if we want a better community, a healthier community, a stronger community, a community that has better emotional wellness, better mental health, better physical health, things like that, it really does start with the family. And a lot of conversations I have with other youth pastor friends of mine and stuff like that, we always talk about that. But really on the broad scale, following Christ or not, right? A stronger community is going to come from stronger families. And if the family unit is weak or falling apart or deteriorating, it's always going to be a huge struggle to have your community be strong. And vice versa. If you have a really strong family unit and that grows and other families start leaning on one another and communicating with one another and helping each other, then that community just all of a sudden automatically just starts taking a turn.
Right.
Can you share just a little bit of the work you've been doing on your Facebook page, Stronger Families, Stronger Communities? Go like it, go share it, go check it out. What have you been doing on there? Because I think it's awesome and creative and helps parents, honestly. Share that.
So I was originally going to be doing some family fun experiments, and with COVID coming, it kind of had to be changed to online versus in person. And really it could have been just canceled altogether, but I wasn't really ready to admit defeat.
Nope, that's
right.
So
April was Strengthening Families Month / Child Abuse Prevention Month, and that was when I decided to start up a Facebook group. And on the Facebook group, I've posted different family activities, some information on there. I've really tried to grow it to get more people on it. And really, I want it to be a place where people can find information and also just have fun. Give these simple activities that usually don't require too many materials, and so they're pretty low cost. And I've recorded videos, I've done some photos so people can see which way they want to do it. And
I've seen polls. You take polls of what do you want to see me do next? You know? I love that.
And some surveys to see if there's any needs in the community. And so all of that is kind of going into what I want to go next. And this isn't to end with me. Like, the hope is that, yes, I'm here for a year, but this isn't like just a year and then done. And so as I'm finishing up, though, I'm creating some grab and go activity bags, which will hopefully be available next week, and I'll post about that. I'm looking to do a family minute to win it, socially distanced, of course, but it will be hopefully at one of the parks. And I really just want to give opportunities for families to have fun with their children of all ages. And I think that family unit is really important, and we don't emphasize it enough as a society how important that is. So it's been a big focus of mine. It definitely switched from I've always been passionate about children and babies, and then I kind of grew on to being passionate about helping mothers. And one thing that the family part of it, I kind of was like, I don't know if I want to do that part. Like, I just kind of want to focus on the kids. And slowly it kind of morphed into, wanting to look at the family unit and really realizing that is such a huge part of how a child grows up. And, you can give these different materials, but if you don't give the opportunity for engagement within a family, like, that's really what's going to change and help grow not only the child, but also for parents. Like, that's how you build relationships. And so I definitely have a greater appreciation of how important family engagement is, and definitely want to get that out there to others as well.
Well, and how cool too for parents to be encouraged and equipped to be teaching their kids, right? Like, I work with youth and a lot of different parents and things like that, and I always see this trend, this idea that parents just assume that they don't have as strong of an impact on their kids anymore just because they're getting older. And though their kids might not respond like they used to what their parents do, the simple reality is they're still the most influential person in their kid's life if they interact and enter into their kid's life. Now, anybody who steps away from their kid's life or just kind of goes complete hands off, they're not going to be as much of an influencer, right? But a parent that's engaged with their teen, let's say, parents, you still have a ton of impact. Because I hear youth and I hear what they say and what they wished for and what they hoped for and stuff like that from their parents, or divides they feel with their parents, or places where in their relationship with their parents they wish it would be, right? And it tells me over and over and over again that these kids really do yearn and desire for their parents to be engaged at every age. It just looks a little different as they get older, right? And so that's one of the things I loved about your page is it sought to go, it didn't just tell parents engage, right? Because, well, duh, right? But it went the steps further and went, okay, it is important that you engage with your kids, interact with them, teach them, hey, here's an experiment you can do with them. And it's really simple and it's cost effective. But here's a tool that you can use. And then week after week, it was, hey, here's another tool you can use. Here's another tool you can use. Engage your kid. Here's a way you can do that. And, you know, for me, that's at the heart of what I want to see for families as a whole. We're going to get a chance to do an experiment today. I'm excited with Skittles. But there was this quote that I saw yesterday. It says, the main responsibility that parents have is to teach their children. It's not the church, it's not the school, it's not the parents. If you have a child at home, you are still, as a parent, most influential human being in that person's life, even if you don't think so. But, okay, so that's a true statement, but there's a but attached to it. But what? You know, like, what now? You know, what then? What am I supposed to do then? And I think that's the important thing is, okay, see it, recognize it, but then take steps, intentional, purposeful steps to be that influencer in your kid's life. Because Lord knows if our kids aren't going to look at us as parents, right, they're going to look somewhere else. And if we aren't engaging them, you know, I have 4 little boys. If I don't engage them in conversation, in relationship, they're going to look, they want, they need, they yearn. All these kids, they yearn for that relationship with their parent. If they don't get that, they're going to look other places for it. And how amazing would it be for parents to really have that good, deep relationship with their kids year after year? I'm excited. Can we do the experiment?
Yeah, let's do the experiment.
All right, let's move to the experiment. All right, so we've got our experiment. Miracle of time, right? We were able to get our experiment set up. So Loren, if you could just walk us through what the experiment is.
So you're going to need some Skittles, a plate, and some warm water. So, have you ever noticed when you have candy in your hands or in your pocket or something that it starts to turn the color of your hands?
Yeah, it starts dyeing your skin.
Yeah. Do you know why it does that?
I don't.
You don't? So there is, on these Skittles, there's a sugar coating that the oils on our skin start to interact with, and it starts to dissolve it, and that's how we end up with it on our hands.
Okay.
So for this, we're going to do a little bit of an art project.
Ooh, art. I like art.
So we're going to put the Skittles, you can put them in any pattern or order you want, around the outside of the plate.
Are you okay if I do random?
Yeah, we can do random.
Some people, it hurts them.
I mean, it does hurt a little bit, but for the sake of today, we'll let it be. A question you could ask your kids when you're doing this is, well, what they think is going to happen when we add the water. And also, you could talk about primary colors and what those colors create when they mix. So, for example, we have red and yellow there. And so red and yellow mix to make orange, and talk through that with them. Could ask them what their favorite color is, maybe what their favorite flavor is.
Oh, man. Green. That's easy.
Green?
Green.
No.
Green is always the best color. Not going to lie. If you dyed something nasty green and handed it to me, I might just eat it without thinking.
So you're a fan of green eggs and ham?
I'm a fan of anything green. It's It's a problem.
So after we line the edge with the Skittles, if you could do the honor of...
do I get to pour?
Yeah, so you're going to pour this warm water in there. And you also could try this with other solutions like milk.
How much water?
Cold water. You want to put enough to cover the whole plate, but you don't want the Skittles to float.
Okay. So don't screw it up.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to try.
I mean, if you screw it up, I won't take your birthday away, but be a little sad. That's probably good.
Is that enough?
Yep.
Oh, man, it's already happening. It was hot. Don't grab it like that.
Yeah, it was...
Be careful.
Yeah. Parent supervision.
Oh, look at that. It's happening.
And so the colors are going to slowly move out. And so when you try it with cold water, you can guess what will probably happen. I'm not going to tell you just in case you can't guess. And you could try it with milk. You can try it with some Sprite.
I was going to say, could you try it with like pop, like Mountain Dew?
Yeah, so something with the fizz
Look
would
at
do.
that.
And if you had a spoon or anything like that, your finger, you could swirl it around a little bit. It'll kind of mess it up like I just did.
What?
But
I'm gonna try
watch, it's
that.
kind of warm. Yeah.
It doesn't taste like anything but water.
Well, that's just the dye that's coming off really right now.
I just drank chemicals. Yeah, no, we definitely screwed it up. Well, right on. Loren, thank you so much for joining us today, for showing us just one little opportunity that parents can have to engage their kids. Lord knows there's plenty of times it's like, I just wish I had something to do with them.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of parents feel that way. So thank you for sharing your story, your life. We are so excited for what God is going to be doing in your life moving forward. We'll be praying for you. If you'd like to donate to Loren, where can they go? Where can they go to donate to help you out? Message her on Facebook?
Yeah, message her on Facebook or my email.
Okay.
I'm sure you could get them in touch with me too.
Or you can connect with me and I could get them in touch with you.
And don't forget to like the Stronger Family,
Yes.
Stronger Community. It's actually a group, so you'll click join, but everyone's allowed to join. So you'll be immediately added into it, if not within an hour added into, and you'll see different stuff that's going on. And if you're someone who has some opportunities for family engagement, I encourage you to join that group and post that for specifically the Richland County community, but also neighboring communities as well. Totally.
Well, thank you for joining us for another episode of the Porch Light Podcast, episode 5 with Loren Schweiger. And we're excited for where God's got you going. Thank you for everything that you've shared. And we'll see you all next time. See ya.